Hello everyone and welcome back to Cute Crochet. My name is Sri and in today's video I am going to show you how to make these adorable watermelon slice amigurumis. These are really so easy to make and perfect for beginners. They make the cutest keychains and this is the perfect gift for someone, especially for summer. To make these you will need some green yarn for the rind, white for the pith. The flesh is traditionally red but I have seen some gorgeous yellow watermelons. You'll need a little bit of black to embroider the smile and the seeds. I have used some black beads for the eyes. You can also use safety eyes or black yarn here as well. You'll need some blank key rings to turn this into keychains, some stuffing to stuff the amigurumi, and for tools you'll need a crochet hook, a yarn needle, and a pair of scissors. The written pattern will be in the descriptions. So let's get started. With the green yarn for the rind, start by making a slip knot. The simplest way of doing that is wrapping your yarn on your finger twice like so. Then pull the first loop over the second one and the second one up and off your finger. Then insert your crochet hooks through that loop and pull tight. And that's our slip knot. Now we are going to start making a chain. To chain, simply yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. We are going to make 10 chains like this. After making the 10 chains, we are going to start making single crochets into this chain. For that, skip that first chain and make a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. The loop on the hook does not count. So, go into the second chain and pull up a loop. You will have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. And that's our first single crochet. Now, go into the next chain and pull up a loop. Again make a single crochet. Continue making single crochets like this into each one of the following chains. Here I finished making 9 single crochets. Now into that last chain we are going to make 2 more single crochets in that same chain. There will be 3 single crochets in that chain in total. This is just so that we can round the corner. If that first chain comes a little bit loose like this, you can tighten it by just pulling on this tail. Now we are going to work on the other side of the chain. We will make single crochets into each one of these loops that we can see. And I will also work over that tail as I go. Go into the first chain space that you can see and make a single crochet opposite to the single crochet on the other side. Make single crochets like this into each one of the chain spaces. Here I have made 1 single crochet into each chain on the other side. Now into that last chain I am going to make 1 more single crochet so that there is 3 single crochets in that stitch in total. Then make a slip stitch into the first single crochet to join, and this brings us to the end of round 1. You will have 20 single crochets at the end of it. For round 2 we are going to work in the back loops only. Start by making a chain 1. If you look at each stitch, they have a front loop and a back loop. We are going to go under the back loop only. In there, make a single crochet. Again in the next stitch, single crochet in the back loop only. Make single crochets like this into each one of the 20 stitches all the way around. Here I finished making 20 single crochets. Now it might look like there is an extra stitch there, but it is a fake stitch that was created due to the slip stitch earlier. We are not going to work into it. Then slip stitch into the first single crochet to join. This brings us to the end of round 2, and now we are also done with our green color. So cut off the excess yarn and fasten off, leaving it a little bit of tail. Through the same last stitch, bring that yarn tail to the back. This makes it easier to walk over. We are going to join our next color into that same stitch. For the pith, bring in white yarn. To join it, wrap it on your crochet hook like so. Then go into the same last stitch that we walked into and make a slip stitch to join. Bring that yarn tail to the back to make it easier to walk over. Then chain 1 to start. Then start by making one single crochet into that same stitch. Then continue to make one single crochet into each stitch all the way around, working over the two tails as you go. There should be 20 stitches all the way around. Here I finished making 20 stitches around. There should again be that fake slip stitch there. Ignore it and then slip stitch into that first stitch to join. That brings us to the end of round 3 and also the white color. So fasten off, leaving a long enough tail for weaving in. Again through the same last stitch, bring that yarn tail to the back to make it easier to walk over. We are again going to join the next color into that same last stitch. Of course, red is the most common color for watermelons, but it's notoriously difficult to film with, so I am going to show you with yellow yarn instead. I have never seen a yellow watermelon in real life, but I have seen pictures of it. To join your yellow yarn, wrap it on your crochet hook in the same way as before, and then go into the last stitch that we walked into and slip stitch into it to join. For round 4, start by making a chain 1. Then we are going to decrease into the next 2 stitches. To make a decrease stitch, go into that first stitch and pull up a loop like you normally would for a single crochet, but don't complete the stitch. Again go into the next stitch and pull up a loop. With 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that's a decrease stitch. Then make one single crochet into the next 6 stitches. Here I finished making 6 single crochets. Then into the next 2 stitches we are going to make decrease stitch. Then again into the next 2 stitches decrease stitch. So we are decreasing in 4 consecutive stitches. Then into the next 6 stitches make one single crochet. Then into the last 2 stitches of the round make a decrease stitch. Ignore the fake stitch and then slip stitch into the first stitch to join, and this brings us to the end of round 4. At the end of round 4 you will have 16 stitches. For round 5 chain 1 to start and then make one single crochet into each of the 16 stitches all the way around. After making the 16 single crochets, slip stitch into the first stitch to join, and this brings us to the end of round 5. For round 6 we are again going to decrease. So start by making a chain 1 and then decrease into the first 2 stitches. Then make one single crochet into the next 4 stitches. Then into the next 2 pairs of stitches we are going to decrease. So we are going to decrease twice in 4 stitches. Then single crochet into the next 4 stitches. Then into the last 2 stitches of the round decrease stitch. Then slip stitch into the first stitch to join, and this brings us to the end of round 6. At the end of round 6 you will have 12 stitches. Then for round 7 chain 1 to start and then make one single crochet into each stitch all the way around. At the end, slip stitch into the first stitch to join, and this brings us to the end of round 7. For round 8 we are again going to decrease. So start by making a chain 1 and then decrease into the first 2 stitches. Then make 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Then 2 consecutive decreases into the next 4 stitches. Then 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Then into the last 2 stitches of the round decrease. Then slip stitch into the first stitch to join, and this brings us to the end of round 8. At the end of round 8 you will have 8 stitches. At this point I am going to stuff my piece. You can also put in safety eyes at this stage. It goes in between rounds 4 and 5. I am going to show you the exact placement when I do my embroideries. Then we are going to continue with round 9. For round 9, chain 1 to start and then 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. At the end of round 9, you can add a little bit extra stuffing if you want to and then continue. Since the hole is small now, you'll have to push it in using something like the blunt end of a pair of scissors or the back of your crochet hook. Then at the end of round 9, slip stitch into the first stitch to join. For round 10, we are going to decrease into every stitch all the way around. Start by making a chain 1 and then decrease into every 2 consecutive stitches all the way around. After making 4 decreases, slip stitch into the first stitch to join, and this brings us to the end of round 10, which is our last round. Now you can cut the excess yarn and fasten off, leaving a long enough tail to sew up the hole at the end. Then to close up the hole, weave the yarn tail in and out through the front loops of all of the 4 stitches. After doing that, pull on the yarn tail to close up the hole. Leave that yarn tail hanging there for now. We are going to use it to sew on our keychain. Next, for the embroidery, I have separated 2 plies from my 4-ply black yarn. With it, I am going to embroider the seeds and the smile of the amigurumi. Select the side that looks the most presentable and symmetric to you and embroider the piece on that side. The seeds will go around the 8th round of the amigurumi, which is the 5th round of the flesh part. So right here. First, I am going to make one seed directly in the middle. For that, come in through the back of the amigurumi and out through the middle in between round 7 and 8. Don't pull the yarn all the way through. Leave a little bit at the back for making a knot. Then go straight up from that point to form the seed. Then we are going to make 2 more seeds on either side. So take your yarn to any one of the sides of the amigurumi. The remaining 2 seeds will be slightly diagonal like this. After making the seeds, we are going to continue to make the smile using the same yarn. The smile goes in between rounds 4 and 5. For the smile, I am going to make a little straight across stitch so that there are 3 stitches on either side of the smile. Then we are going to tack down the stitch in the middle to form the shape of the smile. Then bring that yarn tail out through the same hole that we came in through. Leave the yarn tails hanging there for now. We are going to tie them off soon. You can fiddle around with the shape of the embroidery until you are happy with it. Next, I am going to stick on some black beads for the eyes. These are flat back white pearls that I painted with black nail polish, and I am going to stick them on using some fabric glue. However, do not do this if you are making this for a child. These eyes can come off and become choking hazards. You are better off either using safety eyes or embroidering the features. I am going to show that after this. For the eyes, you can use the French knot technique. For that, you need to wrap the base of your yarn on your yarn needle a couple of times like so. Then go back down through the same hole that you came out of, and this will create a perfect circular knot for the eye. Using embroidery, you can also achieve different facial expressions like maybe closed eyes, sleeping or smiling or even winking. The process for the closed eye is similar to the smile. You need to make a straight across stitch and then tack it down in the middle. Now I have taken my last yarn tail on my yarn needle to sew on my keychain. Go in through the jump ring of the keychain and down to the top of the amigurumi and out where the rest of the yarn tails are. Then we are going to tie a knot using these 3 tails. Then cut the excess yarn and then hide the knot into the body by pushing it in using the back of your yarn needle. And that's it. I hope you guys liked this video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.